Mid-August. It was the peak of summer, and the sweltering sun was beating down on the residents of Trista. After returning from Heimdall, we were given a whopping 5-day summer vacation before the school year resumed. Turns out, Thors sticks to its military roots, only granting extended vacations to students over the New Year's holiday. However, nobles are allowed to visit home, ostensibly to give them time to become familiar with their family's holdings. And, as you might expect, that meant most students from classes 1 and 2 spent summer away from Trista.
Oh, the cat is there. That's very telling.
Meanwhile, classes 3 through 5 were stuck on campus, envying the nobility as they studied and trained as usual. The other members of Class 7 and I chose to stay in Trista as well.
It's 8:30 AM. It's so hot, I'm dying in here. I'm sick of this heat already. Talking about it just making me feel hotter. The Academy should install an orbital air conditioner. An orbital air conditioner? What is that? What is this device that blows out cool air to help it regulate a room's temperature? Maybe it'll help if I think of it as the opposite of a stove. That's some kind of wizardry. I've heard of them, but aren't they supposed to be prohibitively expensive? And the most modern buildings seem to afford them. Do you have one in your house? Well, there was one in Wineford Company's headquarters, yeah. It'd be nice if my mother could spare one, you know. The Academy she sits on the board of directors for. Seems a bit too much to hope for. This is a military academy, so I doubt we could expect it to be indulged quite that much. Still, a machine to keep us cool in the summer. Whoever first invented that should get a medal. I'll admit, with summer hated is more difficult to cope with in Legram. But as long as I think of it as another part of my training, it doesn't bother me. And apparently Google thinks I'm searching for legroom. That does make summers a bit easier to manage. My hometown's up in the mountains, so it's pretty cool even around this time of year. Actually, now you mention it, would have thought you would go back home with summer being a nobles. We'll give permission, weren't you? If everyone else was going home, I would have considered it, but in the end I decided against it. I mean, wasn't all that long ago I got to see a lease. Maybe next year. I came here to train. Till I feel like I've made significant progress. I've no intention of returning home. Some of you saw my father's mansion. Do you think I'd go back to a place like that willingly? I'd much rather stay here and take my chances of heat stroke. Really that uncomfortable at home, huh? Still, as hard as it is going on right now, doubt all the people heading to that conference at the end of the month as much time to be worried about the heat. You're talking about the Western Moray Trade Conference, right? That's the one. Never been to an international conference on a scale that big before. Mayor Dieter Qua, up to be the International Banger Crossbell CEO. Prince Oliver will be attending on behalf of Her Majesty. Chancellor Osborne as well. Seems crazy to think we met a few weeks ago. The Chancellor in particular was a pretty intimidating figure. Seems like a big scary monster. Well, I've been downloading Matrix. I'm not going to do that on stream because obviously that's probably going to break 1,000,001 different copyrights, but whatever. 11 years ago, His Majesty entrusted him with the position of Chancellor. Supposedly, a full 70% of the Imperial Army is under his jurisdiction. His real fame comes from establishing most of the nation's railway networks. Although he's also been responsible for annexing several smaller countries and independent states around Erebonian. Many wars took place without any bloodshed. Won't put too much stock in what we're selling. Military spending in this country has increased exponentially. What if it's a dictator they're talking about? He was the one awarded with constructing those 2 railway guns pointed at Crossbell. At what point, Erebonian was on the verge of a full-scale war with Calvard because of those things. Oh yeah, I heard about it was actually the Bell who proposed a way to avoid an armed conflict. We ended up signing a non-aggression pact, right? Yeah, well, I'm sure you've noticed there's still quite a bit of tension between us. Wouldn't be surprised if the issue reared its head during a trade conference. Probably not, he seems to have a group of terrorists after him. Hammer of judgment was at the top of a dictator. Does seem like we're typed to make a lot of enemies. Come to Ingrid, isn't he awfully late? Well, it's past time for homeroom to start, so... I swear, that woman. She better not be sleeping off another hangover. Want to put it past her?
Excuse me. I'll have you know I did no such thing. Today.
The door's still open, which means we've got exchange student.
Instructor?
Good morning, instructor.
Morning, everyone!
Plus there's 10 desks.
Anyway, I'll have you know And that reason is... we're going to be welcoming a new classmate today.
What?
A transfer student at this time of year?
Seriously?
All right.
Righto.
Huh?
Crow?
But isn't he a second-year student?
I'm Crow Armbrust. Starting today, I'll be joining you. It's gonna be pretty...
What?
What? I mean,
Are you sure you want to know? It's a long tale fraught with the intrigue of school politics.
I don't think back in his first year he slacked off so much that he ended up failing a few of his classes. Then he came crying to me in a panic like, oh, help me, Instructor Sarah. They're not gonna let me graduate. So as a special exception, he's going to be joining us for the next 3 months to pay for his lazy.
Okay. I didn't expect Crow to be
You can't be serious.
That's an even more pathetic reason than I was bracing myself.
I think you already know that Crow was one of the trial users for the Arcus test they ran last year. So I thought he might be a good role model for you. And don't forget, he'll also be joining us on our future field studies too.
Nice. Looks like you saved me the trouble. Anyway, let's let the good times roll. Oh, and since we're all classmates now, no need for all that
Right. Easier said than done.
If he was any more laid back, he'd be comatose.
Instructor, I can't help but notice you left the door open.
Wait, is there
huh? Are you serious?
Oh, I was hoping... All right, come on in and say hello.
I thought you forgot I was out in the hall!
Hey! Where's my girl? I knew we'd be adding her in because she's too cute not to.
What?
What?
You must be joking.
Hey, aren't you?
You're the girl we met in the Nord Highlands.
Yuppers! Long time no see, guys.
That uniform looks really, really cute on her.
But I see a couple of you I don't know, so guess I better introduce myself. I'm Milliam Orion. And this here's Aragetlum, but we'll just call him Lammy for short.
What the hell is that? Holy crap!
It's that thing we saw at Ark's fort.
So this is that strange girl you met in the Nord Highlands.
Oh, and a little house rule before anything gets blown up. No bringing that thing out in the classroom. If he accidentally smashes a wall or blasts through the ceiling, I'm the one who's gonna get chewed out for it.
Boo! Fine. Anyway. Nice to meet you guys.
And the lolly count of a classroom goes up.
Tell me you're kidding.
I really wish I could.
Well, I can see we're in for some fun times these next 3 months.
Okay. Three days went by. First one sure to make Crow and Brust and Milliam Horizon transfer. In a matter of days, it felt like we've been here all along. I'm sure none of you need to be reminded of none of an Emperor Drygor's end of a war of lions. But did you know the historical records tell us he had amazing few soldiers under his command? Initially, his allies owned a few commanders and several warriors of Nord. While supporters rallied to a military region, he started to hope to repair the Prince's armies. Nonetheless, they continued to advance, liberating region after region after half a year of bloody battles. There's Drygor's perhaps his most well-known supporter. Milliam, right? What happened to a historical figure? Sure do! Leanne Sandlot, also known as the Lance Maiden. Oh, right you are, well done. Sandlot was a daughter of a count who ruled over a remote region, and all accounts tell us she would grow to great martial arts skill from a young age. In particular, the skill of a lance was unparalleled, no record exists of her ever being bested in combat. A lance maiden had a group of mighty warriors under her command who fought alongside her in battle. Perhaps you'd like to eliminate us of a nameless famous band, Rean? Do I know this one? A group of mighty warriors by the lance. It's not a Growlsritter. Growlsritter is something else. And referred to as Stahlritter. Probably Eisenritter. But what was a Growlsritter? Band of knights said to be able to charge across a battlefield like the lightning and cutting down all in their path. Correct, you've done your homework. One prince met with a lance maiden one day during a prolonged conflict. After recognising each other as reliable and trustworthy, we pledged to fight together under a united banner. The lance maiden at night, sweltering ranks, Drygor's army swept through one region after another. In just a year, I was able to defeat the other princes and free the imperial capital Heimdall. Interesting footnote. The castles the Eisenritter use their best operations. Just so happens to be able to be a hop, skip and a jump away from Laura's home in Legram. Indeed, it's known as Lohengrin Castle. It's a beautiful old building situated towards the shore of Lake Ebel, to the west of Legram. Oh, you mentioned that before. Does anyone live there now? No, due to dangerous terrain there, no one gets near it. These days it exists only as a relic of a bygone age. The Arce family is responsible for care and maintenance of the castle, though really only minimal work is done. Well, speaking of the Arce house, wasn't one of your ancestors the Eisenritter's second in command? Indeed, the Lance Maiden's most trusted assistant and confidant, from what I understand. The Sandlot family ended with the death of the Lance Maiden. It's partially because of that Arce family mourns her death each year. What a fascinating story. Legram, huh? Never had a mission there, so I've never been able to go. Maybe I should stop when I was went to Berhard a while back. You think she'd at least try to conceal the fact she gets sent all over the country on secret missions? I know, she totally did say that ship she was going in Berhard, but right. I suppose it's better than her being all distant and cagey. Hey! More IP is always a good thing. Tomorrow's a free day, which means next Wednesday you'll have to use your practice exam. Oh, Milliam and Crow? A few must-have instructional materials you guys are going to be needed as part of Class 7 finally showed up. And that stuff after you once you were done here. Right, Homie was out for a day. Macius, if you do the honours. Yes, instructor. Otherwise, bow, and off we go. What do you think? Well, I don't think we have to be on our guard around her at least. Same. But I'd rather she kept that giant silver finger of hers hidden. I don't think she's a bad girl. I was taking her up in the courtyard yesterday and she came in and fell asleep next to me. What's that have to do with whether or not she's trustworthy? They look like a couple of kittens all curled up together. Their personalities may be worlds apart, but they're both rather cat-like in their own ways. She can't be more than 12 or 13. She's practically still a child. You're right. She's so chip all the time, it's hard to really be cold towards her. I don't think I could bring myself to spurn her. She's got this natural charm, I think. Be that as it may, her presence here reeks of blood and iron, if you take my meaning. Well, it certainly seems that way.
As such, I'm planning on granting you a bit of additional assistance. I should have it ready for you.
Hard to believe a girl like that could be an agent of the intelligence division. Going if what happened with Nord, there's not much I would make me doubting it now. Could She calls it lamy, but aside from its name, we really don't know anything about it. It seems to be made of some strange material with both metallic and ceramic properties. Doesn't look like anything you could make most cutting-edge orbital technology. When I touched it, it felt really nice and cold. Wow, so you actually touched it? Hasn't escaped my notice, it seems strikingly similar to a combat shells. I think it's safe to assume they share some kind of common origin. The instructor said she was forced to accept it, though in a sense, Million was forced on us too. You're welcome to think what you will, but I don't trust her. Either way, she's technically our classmate, like it or not. Maybe a little early to tell whether or not we can trust her. We should be able to figure out pretty quickly whether or not we should count her as a member. That's a logical way of breaking it down, at least. Still pretty early to make sweeping judgments. Knowing her background would be great, but what's really important is whether or not we can count on her in a fight. Agreed. Students of Military Academy is probably the most important issue. One wonder to think we're trying to make her feel unwelcome. And my Miss Crow. Plus I like Rean, you seem to like you got put along with him. I don't know if I put it quite like that. I've had to say, as a capricious gambling addict, way too prone to ante up for every hand. Aid us, help us. You can count on when my chips are down though. He really helped us out last month when Elise went to the old schoolhouse. He's good in a fight and pretty handy with his arcers too. Maybe we won't go with nothing then. Still not really sure how to connect to him, you know. Okay. We're not in a party grouping list yet anyway, so not going to worry about too much of everything else. Ooh, what's up?
Hello, Rean Schwarzer speaking.
Oh, hi there, Rean. Do you have a moment?
Toa? What can I do for you?
You've got a new student in your class now. Well, her student notebook is ready. So I figured in, since you handled it last time.
Ah, you're talking. Sure thing. You want me to swing by the student council room then?
That'd be great.
Off the student council room, okay.
I should head on over to the...
Well, hello girls. How are you doing? Can't say it's a whole lot lively these days, isn't it? That's the point. Where is... So there would be room there. You know I'm going to go say hello to, Oh yeah, uniform equipment should be good to go. Thanks, Teach. It's a hard time wrapping my mind about how someone like you could end up with iron blood, though. Actually, might have got you into this academy, but in my class, you're just another student. I love a little pom-poms and a hat. Really cute. Look, cuteness is a matter of justice, you know that? So if I go into here... We'll knock on the door.
The door's open. Come on in.
Sorry if I just...
Anything to see the wonderful Toa again.
Rean! Not at all. Sorry for making you come all the way out here.
Don't worry about it. That's quite the spread. Is it just me, or does your workload only ever seem to increase?
Well, I've got a little extra going on right now that's keeping me a little busier than normal. Anyway, this is Milliam's notebook. Crow's already got one, along with the added pages on the Arcus units you all have.
All right, I'll be sure to pass this on to...
Thank you. Can I read
Actually, if you don't... How much do you know about why she's here?
All I know is that she came with a recommendation from the Army's Intelligence Division. You know those combat shells you fight in your practical exams? Apparently, it's something similar for Milliam. They can't deny her admission if the Emperor's pushing it through.
This goes all the way up to His Majesty?
Seems like it. The Chancellor was the one who set up both the Intelligence Division and the Railway Military, but neither of those organizations could have been established without His Majesty's consent. Anyway, because of that, the Academy can't really turn down a direct...
So that's how... But even accounting for that, I never would have expected Crow to be trained.
Yeah. I was just as shocked as you when I found out. I knew he was a habitual class cutter, but I always figured he at least had enough credits to graduate. Oh, I feel like a failure as student council president for not noticing.
You're not a failure, Toa.
A failure as a friend.
Whoa there. I think you're being a little... What about Angelica? Does she...
Angie at least makes sure to attend the class. Apparently, Crow not only hadn't attended enough class units, but as long as he's active and engaged with his Class 7 work...
Still, I get the distinct feeling this 1-2 punch of transfer students wasn't just a habit, am I right?
Well, yeah. The principal thought placing Crow in Class 7 might be beneficial for the rest of you, too. His grades might be a sorry sight. Did you know he was responsible for all of the event planning at last year's Academy Festival?
Crow did that?
It might be kind of awkward having a second-year senior in your class, but I hope you guys will all get along. That goes for Milliam, too. She might have an unusual background, but at the end of the day, she's still a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So she really is 13 then?
Yeah, she scored really well on her entrance exam, though. So I think she can handle the curve. She might be small.
Now where... Oh, sorry. Looks like...
Go ahead and answer. I wouldn't want you to miss anything.
All right. Hello, Rean Schwarzer.
Hello, Rean. Are you still on the Academy?
As much as it pains me to say it, I am.
It's just that after I gave Milliam all the things I had for her, you know how she tends to be kind of a mischief maker. So could you find her and...
I can only imagine what would happen if she were to flash that silver thing of hers around on the Academy grounds again.
Yeah, I'd really rather avoid a repeat of yesterday. Anyway,
Wait a second.
Looks like Rean's now a caretaker of Milliam.
She really does trust you. Anyway, I'll let you go then. Are you still up for helping me?
Of course. Still, I know you've got a full slate and all, but try not to overwork yourself. And if there's anything else I can do to make life a little easier for you...
Sure.
Alright, start looking for Milliam. Okay, so basically, attack members. I'm just going to go with these three for now, because why wouldn't I? I can see why you're concerned. It certainly doesn't seem prudent just to let her wander around campus. Very well. I'm going to go with these ones, because obviously these ones I've got ready. Link. Tact I think is probably the best option, so set link. I'm miles away from Link. I'll open up a map. Engineering building and gymnasium, it seems. And whatever that is there, horse sheds? You know what, I'm actually going to save a game here, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.